which was encoded in order to was encoded so that it won't be able to escape the quote sign. But what will happen if we actually use attack vector using the encoded version of ampersand? What will actually happen is that this will be decoded by the server and actually placed inside the generated HTML code. And what will happen here is that we got actually two global variables passed into the Flash movie. The first one is the language which was intended by the developer of the application, and the second one is the global variables that we injected into the Flash movie.
So what happened is that the web server actually received one parameter, but when it embedded it into the FlashVar's attributes, it actually created the ampersand sign here, and the Flash player thinks that there are actually two parameters now. Okay, so another technique is to actually inject the entire FlashVar attribute. So in this example, we have the width that is being specified from the outside. And what we'll do here, we'll put the encoded version of single quote space and add the FlashVar attribute. So when this gets executed on the server machine, the resulted HTML will be as follows. The framework actually decode this and put it here. So we see a new FlashVar attribute appearing, and that FlashVar will contain any global variables that we wanted. So all of these examples are showing you that we are capable of injecting the global variables to the Flash file, but still have the Flash file run in its original environment, in its original HTML.
Okay, another example, and this time it's a client-side example, is what we call a DOM-based Flash parameter injection. Is, for example, when the location of the page is actually used inside as a global Flash variable. As we can see in this example, the location is actually used inside the Flash vars created at the client side. So what we can do is send this tag vector, actually sending the hash pound sign after the location of the page, followed by an ampersand and the global variables we want to inject. Now what will actually happen here is that the location will be embedded inside the created HTML page, and we actually received two different variables. The first one is the actual location of the page, and the second one is the variable we injected into the Flash movie.
There's some nice thing to see about this. First of all, as you saw, the developer of this code used the encode URI method. So in some sense, he was aware of client-side problems such as DOM-based cross-site scripting, and the encode URI method actually protects you against DOM-based cross-site scripting here, because the encode URI method encodes the double quote sign so that any attacker cannot actually put anything here instead of in the location that will cause the HTML parser to get out of the context of this string. So we are not able to actually add new scripting to this. So we cannot perform a cross-site scripting attack here. But still, we are capable of doing Flash parameter injection in the sense that we are capable of passing this information so that a new global variable will be defined on the Flash file.
Another interesting thing to note about this attack is that because everything after the pound sign is not actually sent to the server, it's only used in the client side, this is actually invisible to any server-side system that is deployed. For example, an IPS or an IDS will not see anything wrong with any request which looks suspicious. So this is actually something that will be invisible to the server. What is really important to say about this example is that in this case, encode URI, which is a native JavaScript function, was not sufficient. And this is the function that is usually used in these cases in order to avoid the DOM-based cross-site scripting attacks. But it is not sufficient to actually protect against DOM-based Flash parameter injection.
Okay, so the next example will talk about flash cookies, what this gentleman has asked before. So shared local flash objects are, as known as flash cookies, are used to save information on the client's machine. So this is very similar to HTTP cookies. And Flash allows you a very simple development process in actually storing such objects or retrieving those objects. And many Flash applications go on. Let's look at the following example. We have a code here that uses this Flash cookie, and it checks whether the Flash cookie is defined. If it is not defined, if it's the first time that the user has browsed to this site, then it sets the value of this Flash cookie to be the global variable. And at the end, either way, we go to and redirect the browser to the content of that Flash cookie. So what will actually happen here is that in the regular scenario, the Flash file will be able to put some cookies in your website, and the next time that you will surf to this website, the Flash cookie the Flash player will retrieve those Flash cookies. Now, persistent Flash parameter injection is a case where I, as a user, as an attacker, are capable to load the malicious or load the vulnerable Flash site in your browser and set malicious data within your Flash cookies. The next time that you will surf to the original Flash, then this malicious cookie will be used. And notice that what happens now is that this Flash file is embedded in its original environment. So still, the flow, everything will work, but it will use the malicious cookies that I've managed to insert before. Okay?
This can also, yeah.
So the cookies, the Flash cookies are global for the Flash. It's not for one domain or one web or anything.
There are Flash cookies for each domain. Okay. So we can inject a Flash cookie for a specific domain. And then the first time, if the attacker sends a link to the specific domain with the attack will stay inside the cookies in the repository of that domain. And every time the client actually serves to that domain, the value will be loaded in the Flash and used. So this means that actually the attack persists.
So what you're worrying about is, so if this is being hosted on a different domain, it cannot actually add those malicious cookies because these cookies will be related to that different domain. What will you do in this sort of attack? That we need to find a vulnerability in the Flash file that allows us to actually use the original Flash file in order to upload this malicious data through the global variables, and then use the regular mechanism to load it. If you look at the example before, in this example, what we saw is that, as you can see here, let's assume that's what was happened. This is an initialization code. So every time this code gets executed, then there are some pieces of code here, and at the end, the victim or the browser get redirected to the location of the Flash cookie. Now, as you can see here, I can cause, the first time that you browse to this website, I can cause you to use this new Flash cookie that I send you, because I can send you the Flash cookie using the regular techniques of the problems that we see with global variables. So I send you a link to this vulnerable web page together with an